Hosea 14, the last chapter for this week. Don't sound so excited. Okay, here we go. Hosea instructs Israel to reconcile with God at the beginning of the Messianic age as they return from captivity. God promises to heal and restore Israel to covenant blessing. Oh, this is a fascinating chapter that I don't feel like I ever spend quite enough time in. But Hosea 14, coming to the end of the book almost, Hosea says, "Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled because of your iniquity." It's this urgent appeal to that repentant remnant. Let's return to the Lord. Now, this goes all the way back to what Hosea instructed in chapter 2. Yes, chapter 2:14, when he says the remnant who survives are going to be brought to this wilderness area for this period of covenant renewal at the beginning of the Messianic age. When Israel's Messianic king arrives, defeats their adversaries, he's walking them through a covenant renewal in a valley to the northeast, most likely, of Jerusalem, where they initially entered the promised land. And he's going to walk them through a covenant renewal. And Hosea is describing this like real literally, giving them instruction on how to approach that moment. Now, historically, when Israel would come for a covenant renewal or atonement, whatever they were going to do, historically, the traditional instruction was for families to bring physical offerings of goats or lambs or whatever. They would bring an offering to the Lord, but Israel has done a lot of empty offerings. Part of what God has had to address is that they're doing all these false offerings, these empty offerings, ceremonial offerings that are idolatrous and they are adulterous in nature. And so here's what Hosea says to them. He says, don't take an offering. He says, take words, take a confession of your sins. And if you need one, Hosea gives you one right here, and he gave you one back in chapter 3, which we looked at just a moment ago. If you want to go back to chapter 3, he gives them a little bit of a script. Take words and return to the Lord and say to him, take away all iniquity and accept from us this confession, accept what is good, our true confession. And we will pay with bulls and with vows from our lips. Assyria will not save us. They're renouncing these former lovers. As they've come out of the detox and they've awakened to their guilt, they're starting to renounce those different false, misplaced areas of trust. Assyria is not going to save us. Our diplomatic solutions are not going to save us. Our military is not going to save us. The work of our own hands is not going to save us. We're not going to put our trust and our reliance on idolatry. Our idolatry is not going to save us. But God, please, in you can even the orphan find mercy. Even the fatherless finds mercy. Just this like completely humble, humiliated appeal of God, show us mercy. And look what Hosea goes on to describe. This is God's response. I will heal their apostasy. I will love them freely. There's like 9 or 10 promises. Let's try to count them real quick. I will heal their apostasy. I will love them freely. For my anger will be turned from them. I will be like the dew to Israel. He shall blossom like the lily. He shall take root like the trees of Lebanon, huge trees with massive root systems. His shoots will spread out. His beauty shall be like the olive. Have you seen old olive trees? They're quite fascinating. You should look up a picture of those. And I should include a picture of them in the notes. I'll think of that for next time. And his fragrance like Lebanon, which again, beautiful trees, fragrant woods that they have there, and oils that come from them. And they shall return and dwell beneath my shadow. They shall flourish like the grain. They shall blossom like the vine. Their fame shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Ooh. So, wow, that's a lot of promises. I think I just counted like 12 or 13. But what they are representations of covenant fulfillment. They're not far from the way that God described covenant blessing in Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28. So he's really talking about We're going to restore the covenant. The covenant is on. The blessing is still there. You'll be planted in the land, and all those other blessings that we talked about in previous Hosea chapters. Then you've got chapter 8, where really what's happening is God is calling Israel to an exclusive relationship of trust, saying, I don't have anything to do with idolatry. Renounce all this idolatry and spiritual disloyalty, and I will be your evergreen cypress. From me will come all of your fruit, everything that you need. You'll have it from me as your exclusive husband, for lack, really saying with all of what Hosea's life and ministry has represented. Then you get this warning. It's like this call, this promise, and this warning that really applies to us today. Hosea is giving this call to the current generation of Israel while he's there, but even to future generations, to us now. And so as I say this, listen to this like Hosea is saying this directly to you, because in truth he is. Whoever is wise, let him understand these things, meaning understand the biblical narrative. Will you recognize the areas of your life where you're in rebellion, the areas of your heart that have grown dormant, the areas of your life where you've misplaced your trust? Will you recognize these areas of rebellion, and will you recognize God's redemptive discipline and wake up? Will you wake up? Will you come out of the detox and wake up and turn to the Lord? And will you recognize the way that this redemptive narrative is playing out globally and nationally? Yes, but personally in your life, will you recognize it? Whoever is discerning, let him know these things. For the way of the Lord is perfect. His plan, his redemptive plan, is the most redemptive plan. It's not just right. The Hebrew word for that is it's straight. It's perfect. It is the most redemptive path. And if you'll walk in his ways, you'll experience that redemptive fruit, these covenant blessings. And the upright walk in these things, in these covenant blessings. If you want these things to be true of your life, recognize and understand God's redemptive plan, how it's playing out in history, how it's playing out in your life, and orient yourself around it so that you'll walk in these blessings. But the transgressors and those who refuse to understand these things and who just are going to go after their own way, they're going to stumble. They're not going to inherit the covenant blessings, but they're going to inherit the destruction that comes apart from them. So that's a significant warning that I am just setting myself to, even today. And I pray that's true for you, and I pray for that to be true of the church of today, that we will recognize how the redemptive plan is playing out in our own communities and in the church today globally, and even in the nation of Israel today. It's so important for us to be oriented to the side of God's redemptive plan and what he's doing, and not just our own thing. Because there's many individuals, I'll speak for myself, in the church today who we miss areas. We miss areas of God's redemptive discipline, and we need God's help to recognize it. We need to wake up and return to him with all of our heart, as we've looked at in previous chapters, and as we're going to look at more in future weeks. One of my major takeaways from Hosea is just the dedication of God to not give up on his people, to not give up on Israel, but to not give up on me. That's huge. And I hope that you take that away from this as well.